I'm not defensive about it.
Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the live stream and welcome to all your latest Chelsea transfer news. Big up to everyone that's already locked in. Make sure you're smashing that like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. All of that good stuff. And as always, make sure you get involved in the chat. There is plenty to dive into today's show. We've got the latest in the race for Hugo Ekitike, of Chelsea believed to be ahead of Liverpool, according to reports. We've got reports from France suggesting that Djordje Petrovic is open to a move to Monaco, but Chelsea's valuation could be an issue. We've got a rogue report suggesting that Man United are interested in signing Nicolas Jackson this summer. Chelsea are reportedly weighing up an approach for Everton's Jarrod Branthwaite, and we've got talks of a new deal for Moises Caicedo set to take place soon, as well as the links with Kobbie Mainoo making an appearance yet again. All that and more to dive into, guys. Before I get involved and jump into the chat and say hello to you guys, just a quick reminder, people. Make sure you check out Jersey's FC Soccer Shop. Link is in the description chat. Use code BLUEBROTHER, 20% off the new Chelsea home kit. Great quality, affordable prices. Link in the description. Jersey's FC Soccer Shop. Use code BLUEBROTHER for 20% off. I can, in fact, show you one myself. Here it is. Here it is, chat. Can show you myself. Latest Chelsea home shirt. There we are. Man like Reece James on the back. Legit. You know, I'm not flogging you a scam, people. If you would like to get your hands on the latest Chelsea home shirt, then you lot know exactly what to do. But that is enough of that, because you're not here to listen to me talk about Chelsea kits. You're here to talk all things transfers and chat. Let's get into it. Let's say hello to a few of the people. What are your team? What are you lot saying? I'm sorry, but the Ekitike move makes no sense from a squad building perspective. I mean, I wouldn't call 80, 90 million pounds an opportunity buy. If it was 30 or 40, fair enough. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Jackson is getting sold. I don't hear it. Yeah, but I think I have seen that, and I just think it's a load of nonsense, basically. I just think it is a load of complete and utter waffle. I think it's a load of complete and utter waffle. Yeah, I think that probably will happen. Not happening. Don't clickbait us. What's being clickbaited here? Champions of Europe. Yep, that's exactly what we are. I agree, too expensive. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really call it news, to be honest. Look, I stand by what I say, and this is just an opinion. This is not, I don't have any inside information or anything like that. Excuse me. I still fully believe that Victor Osimhen will sign for Al Hilal. Why do we even need Ekitike? That is a good question. That is a good question. Come to Vietnam. Well, yeah, maybe at some point I'll come to Vietnam. Let me know what's going on over there. Maybe I'll come to Vietnam. Yo, chat. Someone copy and paste the Osimhen's mate thing in the chat. Just paste it in there, because I haven't got it up on Twitter. And if people got it to hand, just stick it in chat. Think we only bring another striker when if Jackson gets sold? Maybe. Oh, yeah, we could also update that as well. Yes, there's news on that, which I'm going to dive into. But let's start with that. Let's start with that, because people were asking yesterday, and there wasn't really an update on it. And now we do have an update on it, because it was reported last night in an exclusive from The Telegraph that, here we go. Let me just bring this up now, this Delap stuff, whether he's going to play at the Club World Cup or not. That Chelsea will ask Liam Delap to put the Club World Cup ahead of England in another club against country row this summer. While Delap is desperate to play for England, Chelsea sources are expecting the club to request for him to be released should he complete his move to Stamford Bridge. So he's obviously Chelsea are going to ask for Delap to be released from the England under-21 squad. I don't know how I feel about this. Obviously, you want your squad to be at the Club World Cup. You want your best players there. Delap's going to be a part of that. But I feel very uneasy about getting players to pull out of international tournaments. If it was just an international break, yeah, whatever, no problems at all. But I have a bit of an issue with getting him to pull out of the European Under-21 Championships. You can see England are probably going to be one of the favourites there. And he should really play in that tournament. You know, the Club World Cup, our first game's June 16th. The Euros, I think, runs from the 11th to the 28th. So yeah, he would be joining up late if England went all the way. But I don't know is the honest answer, chat. What's going to happen? But Chelsea are going to request Delap to come to the Club World Cup over England. They're going to make a request for him to pull out. So let's wait and see what happens on that. So right now, we don't have an answer whether he's going to be at the Club World Cup or not. If he stays with England, he'll join up late. If he doesn't, then he'll be there for the whole thing. And we're just waiting for that decision. Let me just quickly get back to the chat. Has Guiu gone the other way on loan? No, he hasn't. I think PSG will win. Vietnam has lots of proper Chelsea mates, safe and so much fun to explore. Yeah, maybe I'll have to come out there one day. Maybe I'll have to come out there. His dream team from my childhood has been Chelsea. Yeah, bro, we hear this shit all the time. It's so boring about, oh, Osimhen was a childhood Chelsea fan. He wants to emulate Drogba. He wants to do this. He wants to do that. But he only wants to do it if he gets paid the money that he wants. So, bro, you can't be that up. You can't be that up for doing it. Otherwise, you would come in for the terms. Yeah, sure. He wants to be playing on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, but that could mean, that could mean Champions League, or it could just mean playing in a European competition or playing in a continental competition in midweek. I don't think there's too much to be read into that. But anyway, let's get into so we did that. Let's get into the news on Hugo Ekitike then, because we've had news from Bundesliga expert Christian Falk that Chelsea are ahead of Liverpool in the race for Hugo Ekitike. Now, his exact words are, at the moment, Chelsea hold the best cards in the Hugo Ekitike poker game. Chelsea are already in dialogue with the player's side and could get serious. But Liverpool are also still in the race, despite the upcoming record transfer of Florian Wirtz. Now, chat, these Ekitike links are refusing to go away. They are refusing to go away. They are constantly here. The noise seems to be getting louder and louder in regards to Ekitike. You know, Liverpool are still there, but it seems that Chelsea are doing the most work on this. Now, what does this mean? Does this mean that Ekitike is going to come in addition to Delap and Jackson? Because is Nicolas Jackson leaving, or they're going to move Nicolas Jackson out and play him on playing on the left-hand side? I don't really know, but I just don't understand. Personally, for me, chat, I don't understand why you would go and sign Ekitike whilst you still got Nicolas Jackson. It doesn't make sense, because you've got a 22-year-old and a 23-year-old striker, two relatively inexperienced strikers, right, in Delap and Jackson. I think we need a third striker. But why would you then, for that third striker, go and get yourself another 22-year-old inexperienced striker? Why would you do that, chat? That's what I don't understand. Why would you go and do that? If you've got your two strikers and you're looking for a third, you're either going for a top caliber like a Victor Gyökeres, for example, or you're going for that Loic Remy Demba Ba type signing, like you could do with a Jean-Philippe Mateta. Why would you go and get Ekitike and have three strikers all of the same age, and two of which are a very similar profile? I don't understand that. I really don't get it, chat. Like, what sense is that making? The only way it makes sense, the only way a move, in my opinion, for Ekitike makes sense is if Jackson leaves. But can we see Jackson leaving? You know, chat, who is honestly, who would be happy with Ekitike being the main striker next season? Please tell me, because I wouldn't. And we're going to be in the Champions League next season. We're going to be in the Champions League next season. You cannot go in with Jackson and Delap, or even if Jackson left right, which I don't think will happen, but even if Jackson left right, you cannot go into the Champions League with Liam Delap and Ekitike. And then you've got like a backup choice of Mark fucking Guiu if he stays. Like, that is not serious, and that is going to get eaten alive in Champions League football. You know, you need a top quality striker. So I don't really know. I don't really know what's going on here. I don't know what's going on here. Well, no, I don't think so at all. The Gyökeres thing's interesting. The Gyökeres thing is interesting. Doesn't make sense. I don't know. I'm not hearing any reports or any noises coming out of Chelsea that they're looking to sell Jackson or that Jackson's unhappy at the club. I don't know where people are getting this idea from that, if a striker joins and Jackson wants to leave. You know, when you're at a big club, there's going to be competition for places. You have to expect that. So I don't really view that as a big deal. I don't view that as a big deal, you know. I really don't. Exactly. And this is it, Bryanson 93. Why would you spend over £80 million on Hugo Ekitike when you can sign Victor Gyökeres for 60 million? Why would you do that? There's literally no world in which that makes sense. There really isn't. Even if Gyökeres is going to be 26 going on 27, which is in his prime years, even if you spent 60 mil, right, and you got 3 or 4 good years out of him, why on earth would you not do that? Why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't you do it? No, he's not. But very few players are actually worth the value that clubs place on them. Very few players are worth the value that clubs place on them. Everyone knows that Ekitike is not a €100 million player, but to Frankfurt, that's his value to them, you know, and that's the way it is, you know. That's how important he is to their team, and therefore that's the valuation that they're placing on him. Of course, we know that, you know, that valuation is not correct, but what can you do? What can you do? If you like the player, look, I'm sure you can, bro. Mateta, absolutely. Why is no one seriously looking at Jean-Philippe Mateta? Why is no one looking at him? No, I'm not sure if it's quite as simplistic as that. I really don't know. Don't write off Osimhen. I can't see that happening. If that happens, fair enough. Yeah. What else? Let me get to the bottom. Oh, yeah, of course. How can I forget? Man like David Datro Fofana, still at the club. Chat. Still at the club. But you know what? It is what it is. He will be sold this summer. Thing is, though, you say that, right? And I hear it. But ultimately, if you spend £80 million on Ekitike, unless he becomes a world beater, you're never getting more than what you paid for him. You're not getting more than what you paid for him. And obviously, yeah, in terms of you do this book value shit, which I don't really understand personally, you know, you could make money on him. But in terms of if you buy him for 80 mil, he'd have to be an absolute worldy player for you to consider being able to get more money than you made, or even just to get your money back. When did I say I wasn't the biggest fan of Marmoush? Marmoush was a lot more proven than, say, Ekitike, for example. He had a bigger body of work, and Marmoush is a better player than Ekitike. We know that. We know that Marmoush is a better player than Ekitike. Yeah, it's interesting because obviously we know that Victor Gyökeres is 100% leaving Sporting Lisbon this summer. He's given his goodbye. He's got an agreement with the club to leave for less than his release clause. So he's going to leave for around 60, 65 million euros. Arsenal seemingly prefer Benjamin Sesko over him. So why is there seemingly no links right now with Victor Gyökeres and top teams? It seems to be very, very quiet surrounding Victor Gyökeres. Very, very quiet. And I don't exactly know what that means. Why is it so quiet around him? I mean, let's see. Let's see. I'm not saying that he hasn't got potential, because he obviously has got potential. There's obviously something about him, but at the same time, I'm just not. I'm not convinced. I'm not fully sold. If this was a sort of a 40, 50 million pound transfer, I'd be more on board with it. But the fact is, like, could be as much as 80 million quid. I would want someone more refined and someone who's, you know, going to come in and make more of an impact. That's what I'd be looking for that amount of money. Now, at some point, yes, of course, you've got to take gambles, and, you know, is potentially spending 90 million on Benjamin Sesko, which Arsenal might do. Is that better value for money? And is that a better deal than spending maybe 83 million pounds on Hugo Ekitike? I'm not sure. I mean, Ekitike, I think, scored more Bundesliga goals than Sesko this season, but it's all kind of, I don't know, it's all kind of ifs and buts, isn't it, at the moment? I just don't know. Oh, he's long gone. He is long gone. I think with the younger players, it's very much a thing. Like, a lot of those younger players they sign from South America. Obviously, some of the best ones will make it, but a lot of those guys are sold with it and are bought with the intention of being flipped on. You know, that is maybe not necessarily the first team players, but certainly a lot of those young up and coming talents, they are bought with the intention to sell them for more money. Yes, big up, big up, big up. But again, the João Pedro links came out, and then the very next day they were shut down, and we've literally heard nothing since. It's mad, that, isn't it? We literally had the reports from Brazil. João Pedro, Chelsea want to sign João Pedro before the Club World Cup. The next day, Ben Jacobs saying that Chelsea, we had it Sky confirming that Chelsea are interested in João Pedro. And then Ben Jacobs came out about an hour later after that Sky report and confirmed that Chelsea weren't interested in João Pedro. And that was about a week, 10 days ago. And now we've literally heard nothing since on João Pedro and Chelsea. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's mad. It's absolutely mad. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Oh, in terms of starters, no. In terms of starters, no. But in terms of squad players, yeah, some of that stuff has absolutely gone on. João Pedro is nowhere near as bad as what people think. That would be a good squad option. It would be a good squad option. In my opinion, it would absolutely be a good squad option, chat. So yeah, we'll wait and see on that one. But it would be a good squad option. But yeah, I unless something changes, I don't see Chelsea going back in for João Pedro. What happened to Alfie Gilchrist? He went on loan to Sheffield United. I suspect he'll either go on loan again or he'll be sold. You know, as simple as that. He's definitely got no future at Chelsea. By the way, guys, 220 in the building. Make sure you're smashing that like button. We're on 75 likes. Let's get this up over 100 likes. Chat, come on, keep smashing that like button. It's free. It takes seconds, and it really, really helps me out. And of course, please, please, please subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Road to 20,000 subscribers. please make sure you're hitting the subscribe button, chat. I would greatly appreciate that. So run it up, run it up. We're 25 subscribers away from 16.4K. Let's try and hit that in this stream, chat. So yeah, run up the likes and subscribe. Let me just get to this super chat. Big up to Alhambra. This guy missed 16 big chances and scored 15 goals. Yeah. But yeah, that's it with Ekitike. That's where we are right now. Chelsea ahead of Liverpool in the race. Chelsea have made contact with the representatives. And then I think it's basically down to Chelsea now. Are Chelsea going to accelerate their pursuit of Hugo Ekitike? And whether this is right or not, we'll wait and see. But ultimately, I feel that basically at the end of May, for Chelsea's striker business to be done, I would be surprised if Chelsea's striker business was done. And it's not even reached June yet. I would expect another one to come. I would expect another one to come. I don't know who, but I would expect another striker to come through the door. I'd be very surprised, chat, if it's by June 1st, we've done our striker signings and that's it. But hey, who knows? Who knows? But that is the latest on Hugo Ekitike. Now, we did loosely touch on it whilst discussing the news around Ekitike, chat, but there's a report here. I did a video on it earlier, but we can discuss it in more depth now that there's obviously people in the chat. What are we saying about this, chat? What are we saying about this? Manchester United have reportedly expressed their interest in completing a surprise summer move for Nicolas Jackson. Now, this is really the first report that I've seen linking Nicolas Jackson with a move away, because there's been very little noise about Jackson and about him potentially moving on. There's been very, very little noise on that front. And yeah, it's personally, I think it's a load of bollocks. I think this report is utter garbage. I don't know where it's come from. I don't know where that information has come from, but it just feels like, I don't know what it feels like. I just think it's nonsense. But let's read it anyway. Well, Chelsea are going to request for him to pull out and come to the Club World Cup. So we'll have to wait and see what happens from that. When is the third striker playing? Well, look, next season, we're probably going to play over 60 games. We're competing on 4 fronts. You've got to factor in injuries and things like that, rotation, obviously different competitions. You've got to factor in like opposition and whatnot, you know, what strikers might suit certain games and certain oppositions and things like that. So there's enough minutes to go around. Now, whether you can have Jackson, Delap, and a Gyökeres, for example, or whether it needs to be Jackson, Delap, and, for example, Mateta, which might be a bit more easier to manage, I don't know. But there is enough minutes to go around, chat. I feel there's enough games and enough minutes to go round. I really do. But anyway, let's just dive into this. Where are we? Let me dive into this. So, Man United have expressed their interest in completing a surprise move for Nicolas Jackson. Jackson has been identified as an alternative option to the likes of Osimhen and Gyökeres. Obviously, United missed out on their top priority, Liam Delap. Delap's new to Stamford Bridge has raised doubts over Jackson's future, especially as the Blues continue to be linked with Hugo Ekitike. Football Transfers have been informed that United are monitoring his situation at Chelsea, and Amorim's side have made an approach for the Senegal international as they look to improve the attacking options at Old Trafford. Jason Wilcox is playing a key role in reshaping United's recruitment model and has identified Jackson as a suitable foil for Matheus Cunha. We've been told Wilcox is keen to bring in an athletic centre forward who's capable of stretching defences, and Jackson is viewed as a potential option by the United hierarchy. However, Chelsea are reluctant to sell as things stand. So, again, no mention of price, no mention of anything. And what I would say here, chat, is if this was legit, right? If this was legit and this had 100% happened, that Chelsea had made United had made an approach to Chelsea for Nicolas Jackson, that would be everywhere. That would be Romano, Ornstein. That would be reported and covered everywhere. So when I see just one rogue report and it's saying an approach from for Man United from Nicolas Jackson from not the most reliable of sources, I personally don't think this has got any legs in it whatsoever. I don't think it's got any legs at all. But who knows, chat? Who knows? Maybe it could have a bit of legs. I still don't subscribe to this trail of thought that Jackson's going to leave this summer. I mean, chat, let me know who thinks that Nicolas Jackson will leave this summer. Not who wants him to leave. Chat, who thinks Nicolas Jackson will legitimately leave Chelsea this summer? Fucking hell. Sorry. Yeah, chat, who do you think will leave? Who do you think's going to leave? Do you think Nicolas Jackson will leave this summer? Not do you want him to? Do you think he will? So what we saying? No. Jackson will leave. No chance not leaving. Yes. Yeah, they do. They do. Jovic, Abraham, and Santiago Jimenez. That is very true. That is very true. But also you have to realise that Liverpool will have Mohamed Salah. They'll have Florian Wirtz. They'll have Cody Gakpo. They've got players who are going to be contributing heavily as well. So having Ekitike there, all right, it might not be the best striker, but that would probably suit Liverpool quite well because they've got that bagsman in Mohamed Salah, who's just an output machine. No, I honestly don't see it. I don't see any truth in this, chat. I don't see any truth in it at all. I mean, look, let's be fair. Jackson hasn't been as good this season as he was last season. Chat, bear with me one moment. I need to blow my nose. Right. Yeah, look, Jackson's obviously not been as good this season as he was last season. He started the season well, showed good signs of improvement. He regressed a little bit, obviously got injured, popped up with a couple of important goals towards the end of the season, but overall, he's not done as well this season. We have to be honest, chat. He's not done as well this season, but he still offers a lot to this team, and he's still very important to how the surrounding players perform. And you know, he's vital to how we play. You know, runs in behind, he's athletic, stretching centre backs out of position, creating space for the likes of Cole Palmer. He's very important to how we play. His box presence has got to improve. You know, he's got to be better in the box. That's ultimately what you want from your striker. You want your striker to be much better in the box. He needs to be better in the box. But, you know, I still see a lot of value in keeping Jackson. If he has a similar season next season to the one to the first two, then sure. You know, I could buy into, actually, do you know what? Maybe we need to move him on. But I think after a decent first season and a not so good second season, I think there's absolutely deserves a crack at a third season. For me, he does. you know. And this is it at the end of the day. Jackson should be a squad player, you know, and I said it in the video earlier, but Jackson should be a squad player. You know, he should be someone who is learning his craft, plays 25, 30 games a season, starts some, comes off the bench in others, and he's learning from a top striker. You know, that's what he should be doing. Jackson was never signed to lead the line for Chelsea straight away. So why we decided to put him in that position, I'll never know. I'll never know why we decided to put him in that position, but that is what we decided to do. And he's not done too badly. He's not done too badly. So, yeah, I absolutely, chat. I see value in rather Ekitike than Jackson. Fair enough. Yeah, but again, I'm not sure who you say that, right? And I just don't know who would. I don't know who would. I mean, who would pay that money for Jackson? You know, yeah, we signed him for 32 million. He's done better, but ultimately, you know, he signed a new 2-year contract extension last year. You know, he's contracted until 2033. So I don't think Chelsea offer him a new contract, offer him a contract extension, and then suddenly they're like, oh, by the way, we're now going to sell him. It's garbage. It's utter garbage, chat. Why on earth would we look to do that? Why on earth would we look to do that? Makes no sense. Makes literally no sense at all. Big up to Ziad for the raid. Love my brother. Thank you. Thank you. Emery loves him. Yeah, look, Emery obviously bought him through at Villarreal. But again, you know, I don't see Nicolas Jackson going to Aston Villa or anything like that. So yeah, I think he'll stay. Ekitike is a terrible option for price, and his stats are about 6 months old. He's a nobody. I wouldn't say Ekitike was a nobody, but yeah, do you know what? I hear it. But I'm not saying that Jackson. I've never said Jackson should be starting every week for Chelsea. I didn't say that. It should be a rotation option. You know, it's very simple. He should be a squad player at Chelsea. You know, that's the reality here, chat. He should be a squad player at Chelsea. Now, whether he thinks he's a first 11 player or not, I don't know. Again, big up to Alhambra, the second super chat. Jackson's a squad player but thinks he's first 11. Kalu was better. Look, Kalu had a good career at Chelsea. But look, let's see what Jackson can do, chat. Let's see what Jackson can do. You know, yeah, okay, Jackson in the Champions League and Delap in the Champions League. Is that going to be enough? If that were to be it, I don't think so. But I honestly, bro, no one's happy when they're subbed though. Like I don't get the sub thing. Oh, he's not happy when he's subbed off. No football players like being subbed off. They don't. No footballers like being subbed off, chat. So what are we doing here? What are we doing here? You know, look, I'm here with this is where I'm at with Jackson, right? Did good first season, not so good second season. For me, he's earned the right to have a crack at a third season. You know, he should be having another season, and if there's not really any signs of improvement, then sure, okay, let's look to move him on. He's still only 23. He's still only 23. There's a lack of maturity at times. You know, he needs to develop and mature. But for me, he's worth keeping around for another season. You know, he's absolutely worth keeping around for another season. Simple as that. Bro, no one's happy being subbed. Like this idea that players are happy to come off is utter nonsense. No one likes being subbed. No one likes being subbed. You know, you want to play every minute, all the minutes possible. You know, players sulk about getting subbed off. They want to play. They don't enjoy being subbed off. They want to stay on the pitch. They want to help the team. Mate, you don't want players that are happy being subbed off. You want players to be disappointed that they've been taken off. You know, no one should be happy about being subbed off. No one. And that's the mentality. That's the mentality you want. You don't want anyone that's happy to be subbed off. You want players hungry, that desire. You know, oh, I've been subbed this game. I need to do better, so make sure I'm not subbed next week. You know, having a go at players for being subbed, for having a go at players for sulking when they're subbed is mad for me. Absolutely mad. You know, and people are acting like he's missing chances on purpose. I mean, what are we doing here, chat? What on earth are we doing here? Acting like he's missing chances on purpose. Oh, seriously. Chat, we're 290 in the building. Make sure you are smashing that like button. It's free. It takes seconds, so please do run it up. Subscribe if you're new as well. On the road to 16.4K, on the road to 17K. So please make sure that you are subscribing, chat. Make sure you're subscribing if you're new around here, and keep running the likes up. I reckon we can get to 150 likes here. That's 30 more likes. Run it up, people. Please tell me what Chelsea level is. Because people say this all the time. Oh, he's not Chelsea level. He's not Chelsea level. Well, last time I checked, Chelsea level is a Champions League club right now. And so Nicolas Jackson can absolutely be part of a squad for a Champions League club. But anyway, for what it's worth, I think he'll stay. But I do think next season is potentially kind of last chance saloon. Next season is last chance saloon. You know, that's it for me. You know, let's see what you do next season. If you improve and show promise again, then no problem. But if you have another similar season to this season, then I think you've got to look at selling him. But I'd be very surprised if Nicolas Jackson was moved on at the end of the season. So yeah, I suspect that he will end up staying. But let's move away from Ekitike, Nicolas Jackson strikers, and let's move to the other end of the pitch, because as we know, Chelsea are looking for a centre-back. But the news on the centre-back stuff has gone very quiet. But Simon Jones in the Mail saying that Chelsea are weighing up an approach for Everton centre-back Jarrad Branthwaite, but David Moyes is reluctant to sell him. Now, we know obviously that Dean Huijsen was the main transfer target. He obviously decided that he wanted to join Real Madrid instead. No issues with that whatsoever. It is what it is. Is what it is. Mark Gurhey believed to be a target as well. And there have been reports with a move for Jarrad Branthwaite as well. Villarreal did not even have him as a striker until their main man got hurt. Bro, there's no... I don't understand what point you're making. You know, I'm not saying that he should be number one, but I'm saying that he's more than good enough to be in the squad. So I don't really I don't understand the point you're making here. It's not... The point you're making is not making sense. Like, what are you trying to say? Big up to Thomas for the 199 super chat. Jackson's not... Oh, yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, no, for all those hype merchants. Yeah, no, obviously not tall enough. Not tall enough. Bring him and Gurhey and we're set. Yeah, potentially. Bro, you don't even you don't even know the guy. This is what I don't understand, bro. When people say, "Oh, he's gonna sulk," like you don't even know him. How do you know that that's gonna happen? You're presuming that's gonna happen because on a couple of occasions he's been unhappy at being subbed off, like any professional footballer would be, And now you think because he's unhappy at being subbed off, you therefore think that, oh, he's going to sulk the entire time. Like, what are we doing here? Let's try and be logical about opinions here, chat. You know, if that's what someone genuinely thinks, fine. I totally disagree with it. But yeah, whatever. You know, it is what it is. I think Jackson will be here next season. If people think he's going to be a sulker and it's going to be a problem in the squad, then that's up to them. That's their opinion. They're entitled to it. But I just think that's an utter load of nonsense. But yeah, anyway, Jarrad Branthwaite is interesting, chat, because yeah, obviously Dean Huijsen's gone. The links with Jarell Hayter, who'd be more of a Renato Vega replacement, he'd be seen as more of a backup to Marco Correa, which we do desperately need. There's been gone a bit quiet on Hayter. Guehi, the links have gone a little bit quiet as well. And yeah, Branthwaite, this is really the first proper concrete-ish link with Branthwaite. Now, I like Branthwaite, by the way. He's an England international. Obviously, didn't make the first squad under Thomas Tuchel. He's made 30 odd appearances for Everton. Man United wanted him last summer. Everton had a price of 70 million. United weren't prepared to meet that. I think they made 2 or 3 bids for him, but they didn't meet that valuation. So I look at it and I think, well, the valuation's probably come down a little bit. I don't think he's worth £70 million now. He would obviously come to us, Champions League club. So that puts us in a good position. But what do we think? What do we think he's worth, though, chat? What do we think he's worth, Jarrad Branthwaite? Would you spend 50 million quid on Branthwaite? Maybe you would. Maybe you would spend 50 million on Branthwaite. I mean, what are we saying? Branthwaite's a good defender. Branthwaite's not going to spend. It's not going to cost 80 million. Branthwaite is 100% not going to cost you 80 million pounds. Let's have a look. How many years has he got left on his contract? First of all, let's have a quick look at that. I think there's a lot to like about Branthwaite. The reason why I would go for Guehi over Branthwaite is because Guehi ticks boxes for what we actually need in terms of leadership, experience, and someone coming in to the back line. That's what we need. But Branthwaite is under contract with Everton. Let's have a quick look. He's under contract with Everton until 2027. So he's got 2 years left on his deal. But according to Transfer Marks, Everton have got an option for a further year. So again, bro, why does it matter if it's Everton? You know, Everton will sell. They're not going to get 70 million for him. They won't get 70 million for him. You could get Branthwaite for 50 mil. I think you could get him for 50, maybe max 60. But yeah, if it starts costing more than that, then I think you need to move away. I think you need to move away if it's going to start costing more than that, in my opinion. But we need experience at the back. We need leadership. We need someone to come in and be a leader of that back line, which is why we prefer to go for Mark Guehi. But again, ESPN adding as well that Chelsea are eyeing a move for Jarrad Branthwaite. You know, so let's wait and see. You know, Everton wanted a transfer fee of at least 70 million last summer, as we know. But Branthwaite's only interested in moving to a club that can offer Champions League football next season. So that does put Chelsea in a good position. But But yeah, look, there's going to be a lot of movement at centre back. There's going to be a lot of movement at centre back because, as you know, we've got a lot of centre backs on our books, chat. A lot of centre backs. I think Renato Vega will go. Regrettably, I think Chelsea again will try and sell Trevor Chalobah, which I'd be very upset with. Looking at Disasi is going to go. Question marks about Badia Shield as well. Would Chelsea look to sell Tosin? Maybe, I'm not sure. But there's a situation here, chat, where we could legitimately sell 4 or 5 centre backs. We could sell 4 or 5 centre backs this summer, but we just need one to come in to marshal the troops, to lead that back line, to be that physical presence, to be that imposing presence for these younger centre backs to learn from. And we got Sarr coming in as well. I don't know if Sarr is going to go out on loan. I don't really know what we're going to do, but it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. Look, I wouldn't personally sell Tosin. You know, I'd keep him as a squad option, like a 4th choice centre back. But again, if someone bid 20, 25 million for Tosin, you'd probably take it. You'd probably take it, considering he was a free. I don't think that's a ridiculous point of view. Badia Shield, the Sassy should leave. Yeah, well, one of them will definitely go. I wouldn't be surprised if both went. I don't agree that Fofana will be sold, but who knows? Who knows? Chat, we're 282 in the building. Only 131 likes. Make sure you're smashing that like button. Get this up to 150. Let's try and get this to 200 likes if we can, chat. And what are we saying subscribers-wise? We're 14 away, chat. 14 away from 16.4. Let's keep going, people. Smash that like button and subscribe. Smash that like button and subscribe, chat. So, yeah, I mean, I would say very unlikely. Personally, for me, I'd say unlikely, purely because we haven't fully decided whether we're going to go for him or not. But yeah, I would say it's unlikely. Yeah, Ansel Mina will go on loan somewhere, whether it's Strasbourg, whether it's the Championship, whether it's one of Europe's top 5 leagues. Ansel Mina will go on loan, get him out, get him playing football, and we'll go from there, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, the Joao hater rumors have gone quiet. There's not been anything on that recently either. So yeah, there's been nothing on that. There's been nothing on that. So nothing on that at all. Yeah, it's interesting, that, isn't it? It is interesting. I mean, yeah, what do we think? Bro, Gilchrist is not good enough. We have to be honest with ourselves. Gilchrist is not good enough, chat. He's not good enough. Bro, mate. Who said that? I just don't understand where people come up with these opinions from. How on earth is in any way is Tosin better than Chalobah? You know, we do this in that. We do. Yeah, that would be my ideal scenario, chat. That would be my ideal scenario for sure. Absolutely, I agree on that. That would be my ideal scenario. Go for Hato and yeah, go for Hato and Gurhi. But yeah, we'll have to see what we ultimately decide to do, chat. But Yeah, centre back links have been pretty slim pickings, But yeah, Branthwaite, one to keep an eye on. Gurhey again's gone very quiet, but I think we could see things start to pick up. I think next week chat will be a big week, because that's the week that begins the 10 days where you can sign players in time for the Club World Cup. So I think next week we're going to be seeing some big movements in the transfer market, some big movements. I think it's going to be a big week. There's going to be information on a lot of players and a lot of moves. So we just got to make sure that we're doing that. We get our business done, and we do the right thing. I don't think we've agreed personal terms with Ekitike. No, I'm not sure where you've read that, but I've certainly not seen that. Yeah, again, Achimpong probably go on loan, but I also wouldn't rule out him being sold. We have obviously have a lot of centre backs, but we can upgrade on quality for sure. We can upgrade on quality 100%. We can upgrade on quality, bro. Tell me where we've agreed. Tell me where we've agreed terms with Ekitike. Please tell me, because that's not been reported by anyone who's got any level of credibility. So please tell me, where is it written that Chelsea have agreed personal terms with Ekitike? Please tell me. Please tell me. Because I can guarantee that you won't be able to. So, mad one. You're telling me to do my research. Please point me in a direction where terms have been agreed. Bro, you keep telling me to do that because you know full well that you're chatting bollocks, mate. So there we go. You've had your fun, and yeah, well done you. Go to blue. Mate, I'm not chatting shit. It hasn't been reported anywhere that Chelsea have agreed terms with Ekitike. If you want to think we've agreed terms with Ekitike, that's absolutely fine. If it makes you happy to think that, no problem. No problem. So there we go. Fair enough, bro. But I think you're going to end up being very disappointed. We're not going to sign Victor Osimhen. Yeah, look, again, you've got Esteval coming in who can play that. I still think we're going to sign someone who can play as a number 10. I still think we're going to sign someone who can play as a number 10. I still think we will, chat. I still think we will sign someone else who will play as a number 10. But chat, we're 9 subscribers away from the 16.4. Let's get it stepping. Let's get it stepping. Last 9 subscribers. Let's get it done, chat. Run it up, run it up, run it up. I don't know if Liverpool are going to spend for Ekitike or not. But yeah, look, a bidding war certainly... Bro, I know him. I was chatting with him out in Poland. We've done some filming together before as well. I do know him, and I will watch the video. and I'll see if I can find the source, and I will report back in tomorrow's show. No problem. I'll report back in tomorrow's show. I wouldn't say Enzo's a 10. He could play there, but I wouldn't want Enzo as like a main backup number 10. But we'll see. But yeah, that's obviously the latest on the news in regards to Jarrad Branthwaite. Chelsea are weighing up the possibility. Maybe they're waiting to see if Mark Guehi, if a move for Guehi would be a possibility. But let's move away from defenders. And before we get to Djordje Petrovic chat, I wanted to discuss... what did I want to discuss? Yes. I wanted to discuss this because the Kobbie Mainoo links are back again. The Kobbie Mainoo links are back again, chat. Obviously, if Bruno leaves for Al Hilal, then Mainoo will probably stay. But basically, saying that, Chelsea are among the clubs weighing up a move for Man United midfielder Kobbie Mainoo, reports iNews. Mainoo is a popular figure at Old Trafford, but was benched for much of last season and could leave the club. Could leave as the club looked to rebuild the squad while attempting to fall in line with the PSR. Mainoo's future reportedly could depend on whether or not Bruno Fernandes decides to leave the club for the Saudi Pro League. Again, loose links, but why on earth, how on earth, in any way, shape, or form, how does a move for Kobbie Mainoo make any sense? Literally makes no sense. Literally makes no sense. Why would you do that? Why? I don't understand it, chat. I do not understand it at all. But you know, this is where we are. This is the situation we're in. But yeah, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Maybe if we sold Santos, we're not going. I don't think we're going to do that. No, he doesn't play 10 for Argentina. He doesn't play as a number 10. Look, Enzo can play as a 10, but he's not a number 10. You know, Enzo is not a 10, chat. Yeah, we don't need any. I agree. We don't need any midfielders at all. We literally don't need any midfielders. So, again, we were linked with Mainoo in January. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it personally, because you've got Asugu, Santos, Lavia, Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez as a 5. You can't get any better than that. You can't get any better than that, chat. So we don't need anyone else. We don't need anyone else. Yeah, Mainoo was spoken about in January as well, and that's suddenly come back. Nico Williams, I'm not really seeing much of that. Cherki to Man City, I think, is virtually done. Fabrizio's quoted his tweet talking about Cherki and Man City with an eyes emoji. So yeah, that looks like that one's going to happen. So yeah, I mean that would have been a good deal for us. Would have been a decent player to sign, but hey, it is what it is. I just don't get it. not understanding. Yeah, Cherky's a bargain. He's a bargain, absolutely. Well, maybe that, and also maybe the fact that they know he's not leaving. He doesn't want to leave Chelsea. So both things can be true on that front. Who's buying Grealish? Good. I think Grealish, for me, is more likely to leave on loan. I think Grealish is more likely to leave on loan. But yeah, again, a loan deal for Jack Grealish, would that be a good thing for Chelsea? I don't know. Would that be a bad thing? I'm not sure, but I think there's a decent deal there for someone with Grealish. You know, there's a decent deal somewhere. I definitely agree on that. No, I don't think so. Not. I don't think so at all. Yeah, absolutely. We should be keeping Sancho. We should be keeping Sancho. 25 million for a player of that quality as a squad option. You're not going to get better in the market for that price. So, yeah, I would absolutely be fully on board with keeping Sancho. Fully on board. It just makes sense. It just makes sense, chat. Very, very simple. Is that? It makes sense. And that's it. But yeah, I don't see Rudiger returning. But again, look, Nico Williams, Chelsea and Nico Williams keep getting mentioned, but I don't see it. I don't see it personally. Paez could be a backup 10, but again, I suspect that Kendry Paez is going to go on loan. So we will see on that front. Oh yeah, just a load of nonsense, really. Don't really pay any attention to it. We all know that Victor Osimhen is not coming to Chelsea, so it's just a tiresome saga. I honestly can't wait until he signs for a club and we just don't have to talk about this guy anymore or questions about this guy. It's so boring. So boring. You know, so boring. Osimhen, sure, yeah, goal scorer, great, but no, absolutely not on Leao. No, absolutely not on Leao. Yeah, and fair play to him. Fair play to him. If that's what he wants, go and do it, brother. Go and do it. Just go to where you want to go. And I just don't want to be asked about Osimhen anymore, or talking about Osimhen, or are Chelsea going to get Osimhen? Yeah, we did. We did. Yeah, but apparently just a phone call away from joining. So there we go. Think what's legit? I don't know, to be honest. I mean, look, it is only literally, it'll be June 1st tomorrow. So it's not like, you know, it's the end of the transfer window or anything like that. But yeah, I don't know why there's not any seemingly any serious uptake on a move for Gyökeres. I do wonder why Arsenal are preferring a move for Sesko over Gyökeres. That doesn't make an awful lot of sense to me. So yeah, I really don't know. I really don't know. So why would Arsenal prefer Sesko? That's what I don't get. Why would you prefer Sesko over Why would you prefer Sesko over Gyökeres? I'm honestly not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure, chat. Chat, we're 3 subscribers away now. Let's get the final 3 in for the 16.4. Smash that subscribe button and keep smashing the like button as well, people. That would be greatly appreciated. Let's talk Djordje Petrovic, because there's been a report from L'Equipe in France saying Petrovic is open to a move to AS Monaco. However, Chelsea's 25 million euro valuation could prove an issue. Now, really? 25 million euros. So you're telling me that Chelsea, who signed Petrovic for 14 million pounds in the summer of 2023, is had an exceptional season on loan at Strasbourg, their player of the season, done really well. You're telling me that Chelsea are setting their valuation of Petrovic at just £5 million more than what they bought him for 2 years ago? Nah, that 25 million euro valuation nonsense. I'm not buying that at all. Not buying that at all. Chelsea could easily get 30 to 40 million pounds for Petrovic. Easily could get 30 to 40 million pounds for Petrovic. Now, said to be open to a move to Monaco, Champions League club, live in Monaco, great lifestyle. Maybe he's settled in France. Maybe he enjoys France. I don't know, but yeah, if Petrovic is open to that move, fair play to him. But I'm not really sure. I mean, is he getting indications maybe that he's not going to be the Chelsea #1 next season? Like, what are we saying here? What are we saying here? Is he not going to be Chelsea #1? We've got to get rid of Sanchez, really. You know, unless Petrovic wants to leave, then we shouldn't be entertaining selling Petrovic unless he wants to leave, chat. Unless he wants to leave, we shouldn't be entertaining a sell. It really is that simple. You know, yeah, and the goalkeeper market is not good either. That would be sad if Petrovic doesn't come back, and it would be. Yeah, the goalkeeper market is not good. Centre back options are available to get them: Rudiger, Guehi, Bastoni, Kim Min-jae, Tomori, or Kim Pembe. I mean, Bastoni is totally unrealistic, as is Kim. Tomori's not happening. Kim Pembe hasn't kicked a ball for a long time. And Rudiger, who knows? Yeah, easily walks into the starting 11. Easily walks into the starting 11. No, Jorgensen could still be a number 2 because they might send Penders to Strasbourg. So yeah. Yeah, Ekitike is a striker, yeah. Yeah, no, Tomori, I think Tomori's stocks are down right now. Bro, Sanchez is shit. Don't be fooled by a few good performances. Sanchez has got mistakes in him, and that's never going to leave him. That's never going to leave him. Sanchez on the Chelsea under no circumstances are going to win major trophies with Robert Sanchez in goal. He's made the most mistakes leading to goals in the Premier League. He's not a decent goalkeeper. He shouldn't be playing for a top club. The fact of the reality is that you're not going to win major trophies with Robert Sanchez in goal because he's a fucking liability. Sanchez doesn't concede goals. Bro, he's made the most errors in the league leading to goals. What do you mean he doesn't concede goals? What are we talking about here? Yeah. They've got the fourth best defense in spite of Sanchez's best efforts. Yeah, look, and again, someone mentioned it. You know, maybe do you bring Petrovic? You bring Petrovic back. You have him as a number one, Jorgensen as the two, and you keep Petrovic as number one for a couple of years until you think that Mike Penders is maybe ready. Maybe that's a better way round of doing it. Maybe that's a better way round of doing it. I don't know for certain. Exactly. No defense can be comfortable with Sanchez behind them. Everyone knows that. We all know full well no defense can be comfortable with Sanchez behind it. Not one. Not one, chat. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, Nkunku's done. Nkunku's done. Gone. Yeah, and look, I absolutely get that, and that's absolutely right. You know, there's gonna, I don't know what the market for Robert Sanchez is going to be, but I can imagine it will be pretty shit. I mean, look, Jorgensen. I don't think Jorgensen is crap. He needs more opportunities, more time. And look, of course, you know, he's not made the most of his opportunities, but he's very, very young for a goalkeeper. Very, very young for a goalkeeper. But yeah, let's see what happens to the Petrovic. And the goalkeeper thing's going to be very, very interesting. I mean, let's wait and see if Petrovic is named in the squad for the Club World Cup. Let's see if he plays at all. That's going to be an interesting indication. But they should absolutely be looking at Petrovic very closely in the Club World Cup. You know, they 100% should be doing that. 100% should be doing that. You know, there's no good reason, right, chat, why Petrovic shouldn't be number one next season. Literally no good reason. I don't think it does. Because actually, for me, the best thing to do would be Petrovic number one. And then you leave Penders in Belgium for another season. And you send Jorgensen to Strasbourg. And you bin off Sanchez and you sign like an older, cheaper keeper as a number two. That's what I think would be the best thing. Yeah, Sanchez is a good shot stopper, but everything else is shit. He cost the team goals. His distribution's terrible. So there we go. There we go, chat. We're on 164 likes. Let's try and get this to 200 likes if we can. Have we hit the 16.4K likes yet? Have we hit the 16.4K? No, we haven't. We're still 3 away, chat. 3 subscribers away from the 16.4K. Run it up, run it up, run it up. Let's get those final 3 subscribers. I mean, they probably will. They probably will, but yeah, that shouldn't be happening. That shouldn't be happening. It really shouldn't be. But yeah. Bro, Achimpong's not a centre-back, though. Achimpong is a right-back. Yeah, okay, he can play a bit of centre-back, but Achimpong is a right-back. And I don't even think he'll be at Chelsea next season. I think he'll either go on loan or he'll be sold. That's what I see. That's what I personally see happening. I think he'll go on loan or he'll be sold. You know? Yeah, no, yeah, it's a shame, you know. It is a shame with no Petr anymore, but it is what it is. Bro, we got to stop doing this short-termism with Robert Sanchez. You're not going to move forward with Robert Sanchez as your goalkeeper. Simple as that. If we want to be serious, Robert Sanchez is nowhere near that #1 shirt next season. Simple as that. You know, we can't be doing up Sanchez prop. Absolute madness. Oh, I don't think they'll try and sell Gusto, no. Yeah, you cannot have a player like Robert Sanchez in an Enzo Maresca system where there's so much emphasis on a goalkeeper being good with the ball at his feet and having good distribution. So, yeah, he shouldn't be in the mix. He shouldn't be in the mix. He should be gone. He should be gone. Should be gone. Yeah, of course he's killing Palmer. What, the same Palmer that had a man of the match performance in the Conference League final and got 2 unbelievable assists. That Palmer, yeah. Honestly, nonsense narrative that the manager's ruining Palmer. Nonsense narrative. But yeah, chat. I better get. Yes, yes, all good, all good, all good. I mean, look, starting midfield depends what we go with formation-wise, but I think Enzo, Lavia, and Caicedo probably is our best midfield. I mean, let's wait and see how Santos, you know, settles in and whatnot. But yeah, anyway, chat, I've got to round this one out now because I've got to sort a few bits out before the Champions League final. So yeah, big love for all the support, people. Greatly appreciate it. Another great show as always, chat. Please smash that like button on the way out. Please subscribe if you're new around here. Let's get over that 16.4K. Smash up the like, subscribe. Big love for the support as always. Enjoy the rest of your evening, guys. Make sure you come back tomorrow for all the latest transfer news. I'll be live again. Enjoy the Champions League final wherever you're watching it. And yeah, up the Chelsea, and I'm out. Peace.